and it delivered. We thought this one was going to be a good one, and hopefully it'll deliver too. As I say, coming into Chalet with Rogue, struggling on the defence, good on the attack. Feel like that does play into them a little bit because the attackers still do have a bit of an advantage here on Chalet. So if Rogue only managed to get a couple of defences, you know what? Not the end of the world because they're on Chalet. They're going to pick up the rounds on attack.
Well, that's where Rogue will be kicking off. Excuse any bias you're going to find from us. We've, of course, watched Rogue go through a real roller coaster in the last 12 months or so. But I'm also hopeful that Oxygen can come out.
I'm happy to adopt Oxygen. I don't mind.
You'll adopt them, will you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to breathe at the end of the day.
Well, you do.
You can't be saying, I disown Oxygen, I want nothing to do with it anymore. It doesn't really work that way.
I will happily adopt any. I think, like I said, there's going to be... I'm not sure this will be the one just because of the situation with Oxygen and the struggle of the substitution. I don't want to keep going on about it, but I'm not sure it'll be this one, but I think we are going to see better performances.
Kaid ban. This one... Go. Okay, it's a Valkyrie.
Who did you want banned? Who did you want banned?
Do you want to say it one more time, just in case you missed it? Kai, please. With Thatcher and Maverick both taken off the board, you really need to be taking Kaid off the board here. Maybe on this map you look at it and go, I mean, he's all right. Like, you can still play other operators, but I just think the power in denying if you defend on downstairs, the wall from above, whether it's defending office wall and being able to electrify out, it makes me nervous, and it's left on the board. We had this happen earlier on today when Thatcher and Maverick was banned away. It was on coastline, and the defenders constantly brought the Kaid along. I'm slightly nervous that on this map, the Kaid is a little bit stronger than what he would be on coastline, so you're likely to see it brought along in a few of these rounds. Whether that's by Oxygen or by Rogue remains to be seen, but to me, it presents a really good opportunity to slow down the attacking team and give them something to think about.
I agree with you there, Liz. I think this is played into Oxygen's hands here. If they want an opportunity getting, anything against this Rogue side, we said Rogue are good on the attack. They're going to come in there. They're going to try to get the diffuser down. In order to get the diffuser down in at least two of these sites, you want hard breach. You want either office wall breached or you want dining wall breached more often than not. So, I would expect to start seeing hard breaches going in and trying to do that work. It's not going to be easy now with the Kaid available.
Absolutely not. And the thing is, I watched back their game against the Oxygen's game. This is against Dark Zero to get an idea of how they play this map. And looking back at it, they relied so much on Foxer on the roam. Often he'd be out in the map playing the pulse and being a roving pulse, giving them information, whether it was defending and holding inside a trophy with the Mute and the Mozzie, whether it was getting inside a big car garage to catch who was rappelling up onto the north side of the map. They relied on it so much. So there's definitely going to be some changes coming in here in terms of how they play. For me, it's going to really come down to how the executes themselves start working when we start looking in towards things like mezzanine. There's a lot of kind of habits they formed that I'm keen to see.
So coming in to round one, getting towards the action phase then, we're going to be defending Kitchen to start with for Oxygen. We've got Hopes coming along with the Frost. Always useful. With Sim Frost, brought a lot more recently. Surely not. There you go, Yoga. Opening things up with a big peek onto Leon Rogue. You better switch on Oxygen. They might not have their full strength side, but they are going to come for you. They're going to be willing to take those chances, and you cannot be running in the line of sight of windows like that without checking.
Call it very simply what you want. I'll probably say that's down to a little bit of disrespect there. Not respecting the fact that, again, Oxygen, in my mind, is the most EU-esque of the teams in NA. They will swing things. They will spawn PQ. They will be aggressive in ways that many other North American teams wouldn't be. So you as Rogue with an aggressive playstyle need to respect that. Acknowledge they're like you and start thinking, okay, what kind of dumb stuff would we try and do? Chances are they may well try and do the same. That's got to be better in future rounds. They cannot afford to be bleeding out members that early and that quickly, but it's a great first find coming out from Yog.
Just been coming out there as well to signal the position of one of the defenders playing inside of sight. Kino moves up. He's right in front of the windows there. Doesn't even check them. An absolute freebie for Brano into the back of Kino.
Is he okay?
I mean, somebody maybe want to check on him.
All right, fine, whatever. When you're defending in kitchen and dining, you are guaranteed... Okay, this is just Explosive City. Okay, brilliant. C4 comes out, Nade trading back the other way, down into a 3 versus 3. It has been a wild few kills to get this game underway, but you're not going to say no to a bit of entertainment coming in on Chalet. Crying, another nade in hand, as you know about the man on the close side. Thinks he's back in towards the solar stairs, but he would be wrong. That's the one holding here just inside of the kitchen hallway, waiting for someone to come peeking their way up West Main. And otherwise, around the map, it's more for Aces and Co to decide exactly where they want this attack to come from, because as it stands, a little bit scattered.
Rogue need to get a handle on this, Des, because the last thing they want is this game descending into chaos. You know, they are the ones here that are at full strength, that want to come in, that want to get this win and get things going for themselves. And so they can't be coming in here and letting Oxygen just play this sort of crazy game and peeking them and throwing explosives around and just disrupting them all the time. They've got to come in and play their own game. They've got to focus. As we've said, there's been no attempt at getting into main lobby or to hard breach onto there. 34 seconds left to go, and this is going to be a tough push for Rogue from here. They're not really set up anywhere around site.
Yeah, that nade falling just a little bit short as well, a bit more towards the north, and it maybe would have netted them a killer at the very least, putting you down to basically no HP. But here loses next to nothing. Laxin finds one, immediately swings on towards West Main. Right idea, slightly incorrect timing as the man hasn't yet pushed up. Rogue have got 12 seconds to play with here. Not going to find the one as Laxin shuts him down. When he goes for the third, he'll definitely try. But Aces, with nothing but a hope and a dream left in 5 seconds to play, will not be able to get the closer on this round. It's going to be a trade to close things out. Oxygen taking round number 1.
Not just round number 1, Des, but their first round here at the Sweden Major. They managed to get it against Rogue, and Laxing there with great plays on the alibi towards the end there, just playing really patiently just outside of that dining door. Got himself a really nice double and really turned the round for Oxygen. They weren't really on the back foot, but what he did was, it was a catalyst. It just propelled them towards winning the round. It really did sort of seal the deal. This was the first, and then he just swung around and got himself the second on the shield that put the diffuser down on the ground onto Crying, and really nice play from him.
Absolutely. Good close out for Oxygen. 1 round is a start in the right direction. Bar and Gaming going to be the next site that we step into. And the CapCam being brought along. Now, we spoke a lot about CapCam when we first heard about the changes, saying, oh, are you really going to see 3, 4, 5 of those stats on one door? Absolutely not. You're very likely to see 2 in a number of instances, because that's enough to be lethal, or at the very least get someone down. They're set up 1 on either side of that door, I believe, and also sticking... I guess if you're hoping they're going to... I was about to say, it would probably be a little bit weird to put it there, because as soon as those cap cans go off, they will destroy the frost mats. Maybe you were relying on them to deal with the cap cans and not have any awareness of the frost mats. That would be your big hope. But ultimately, going to opt to go and stick them elsewhere, which I think is the right call. Nice little drone from Ripson here as well, as seeing a lot of what's going on in and around the map. You see those frost mats going in on the downstairs. So some kind of vertical pressure expected to come in from the defenders here of Oxygen. And Rogue, the ones who are now going to have a bash at cracking this one wide open.
Into round 2 we go then. As you say, would have been overkill on that window, getting the frost trap there as well, but you're going to be aware at least of the presence of some of the Capcan traps. He's not going to get away with it this time. Leon goes in, gets the kill and says, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And he's having absolutely none of it this time. Entry coming in for Rogue. They've got themselves the advantage. Hope's trying to get that deployable shield out and just has to dip away as the nade comes in.
There's always kind of questions around Hopes as well, knowing that he'd be stepping in. Oh, you know, can he play? What can he do in the game? Obviously, so far, yet to get himself on the scoreboard, but given the history so far for Oxygen at the Swedish Major, he'd be forgiven for not really expecting too much. We'll keep a close eye on how his performance goes as Vert finds himself another. Leon shut down by Kino, and before you know it, Rogue, despite finding that opening kill, have now bled out 3 members in the process. It's looking a little bit scrappy, and we said for Rogue, they're an attacking team. If things go bad in this half, what have they got left in the tank in the second?
Well, that is the big question. As we've said, Rogue have struggled on their defences.
Oh dear.
They need to be having a better half here. As Laxing finds Crying, they are staring down the barrel of a 2-0 start and not in the right direction for themselves. Prano going to drop himself down, looks for the feet, will catch Hopes out. And that is maybe just the experience, you know, the playing experience of Hope showing there. Just stood a little bit too close. He won't make that mistake again. Now then, Prano manages to make a game of this. Des finds himself a second, or at least a down onto Laxing, leaving him now in a 1 versus 2. The cap cans have been cleared off the window. That allows him in. Guman is going to slow his progress down for the time being. It also gives away exactly where he's coming from. Vertical's waiting, nice and easy mop up, and that is going to be the second round for Oxygen.
It's a very famous saying at this point from a dear friend about sprinting, and Prano there at the very end, maybe not with the right idea to go charging in towards that doorway. A slow peek, a quick peek, whatever you want to call it, maybe would have been better suited, but finds himself taken out in the 1 versus 2. 2 rounds on the bounce then for Oxygen. A great start for the North American side, who are giving a bit of hope to the region at this point. Getting it over the finish line, of course, is going to be the big deal, but it does set off some alarm bells for the side of Rogue, who we came in, a bunch of us, and said we're expecting they could do pretty well, all things considered. Their playstyle is hard to deal with. It's aggressive, it's pacey. But as we saw in the prior round, there was a lot of 1v1s being taken or members just being swung on for free with no response coming out of the rest of the team. And that sort of thing is the kind of inconsistency, unpreparedness you really can't afford to be allowing into games.
Absolutely not. Heading up to the top floor there, and Oxygen are looking for a complete defensive rotation here, Des. They could be 3 for 3 if this continues. They've got themselves Kitchen, they've got themselves Bar and Game in lockdown. Head up to the top floor. Laxing's going to be bringing along the cap can again. We'll see if the traps go in different locations or not. Always got to be careful about too much repetition. For example, the cap can traps were cleared off the window last time around, so if you put them there again, you would expect that Rogue are going to be looking for them. So this time going on to the games window from Laxing before he heads himself upstairs. Now, Rogue likely to try and get themselves one of two things established, and that is going to be either a presence in Solarium or it's going to be a presence inside of Library and Mezzanine. Now, given that the Kaid hasn't been brought along, there's no denial for that wall, Des, which surprises me. Bring a Bandit, bring a Mute, bring a Kaid, bring anybody to try and just get something on that office wall.
I think it's the constant fear of knowing that if you do bring along denials, someone's going to get control of lobby, they'll open up below and just remove whatever it is you're committing in towards that area. Not that it's strictly a reason to not play any kind of gadget denial, because I again think that the Kaid here would be a really smart pick. Knowing the Thatcher's banned away, there's no Maverick, you force the attackers to have to deal with it. Again, maybe some consideration given to the fact that it's Chalet and Soft Destruction is the name of the map. Buck is incredibly popular and therefore makes it very easy to remove the electrification that would be on this wall. Prano inside 45 seconds here and getting things opened up. Here comes Kino off on the flank, who may yet cause himself a little bit of trouble.
Hope slips himself back into Piano, Vertical taking damage there, and this is the problem that Oxygen are going to face now that that office wall has been opened up so quickly. It makes it very difficult to play inside of office for Vertical. Rips and Crying going in, getting control over the library, and Kino moving up here, manages to get a beautiful shot onto Crying. It wasn't the opener, as Hopes did lose his life along the way, but that is a big play from Kino there, and we can see him and Yoga just turning tail and running for Solarium to try and get themselves back up into safety. And 4 versus 4, that's not actually a bad start for Oxygen.
Oh, but you got Leon playing on the double window here as well, just waiting for anyone to come charging through office, which is going to restrict these last couple of members. C4 comes out, we'll find Leon, beautiful C4 coming out of Laxing, removes the fear of what's going on the double window, so now all eyes can turn towards the south side defense. And in come Rogue, one going in for the plant. Aces, the point man standing in front. A shallow plant coming in, staying covered from the window. Kino finding himself going down, well flashed out. C4 could be absolutely huge here, but Rips finds himself a kill, and they've already got far clear after the diffuser has gone down. A 2 versus 3 for Oxygen in a post plant. This one should be a Rogue win.
Really should. Laxing looking to aggress onto the balcony there. He knows exactly where this is going to be held from, but we've got the man on the upside down rappel. We've got one over in Library as well, and a lot of work for the 2 players from Oxygen left to do. Yoga looking to move out towards Mezzanine. Prano finds one, Rips finds the other, and that's going to be Rogue taking their first attacking round on Chalet. Leaves us 2-1 now in favour of Oxygen.
Great round overall coming out there for Prano, especially the entry coming in onto Hopes, the plant going down, and another kill after the exit. Great overall round for Rogue, and much more straightforward as well, right? 45 seconds in, direct to site. Got a little bit upset by Kino off on the roam, but once he pulled his way back to site, things were pretty simple and straightforward from there, even with the double window being cleared out by Laxing. So a pretty direct round overall, I think, for both teams. It was quite obvious to see how things were playing out from there. Just Rogue had the upper hand throughout the majority of the round, always one step ahead of what it was that Oxygen were trying to achieve.
Heading into round 4, then we're going to see a defence, this time of Kitchen and Dining. Oxygen going to move back to their first successful side. The thing is, they're not going to mind too much, Des. If they can rinse and repeat this and go 4-2 on the half and come into the attack, they're going to feel pretty confident they might actually be able to get something out of this. You know, we keep talking about this fact that one of the players is absent, and that is very true. But let's not forget, there's 4 seriously good players here on the side of Oxygen that are more than capable of winning rounds. Laxing is going really well so far, 5-1, and just absolutely causing a nuisance of himself around the map.
You're absolutely right. You know, most teams do bring along 5. Some are down to 4. We've got teams like Oxygen only stuck on 4. IG have only got 4 gunners. Sonics have only got 4 gunners. That's the way it plays out. And that was a dig at Super. You're absolutely correct.
I look brave, man.
I will repeat to you what the notes that I received. I won't say which coach it was, but I had a chat to a couple of NA coaches, and one said you can close your eyes and listen to Super shot call around in the Vegas Stadium, and you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Despite his poor performances and so on, and we'll talk more about Sonics when we get the chance to cast them, of course, but you really can't write off
I don't think necessarily poor performances is the phrase, more statistics. The numbers that we see don't necessarily paint a picture, but as you're saying,
I mean,
he's offering a lot more to the team.
Picture. He's 21 and 6.
Oh, they paint a clear picture, but he's offering a lot more to the team elsewhere.
He absolutely does.
The point.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was you or a fresh who was saying it earlier on that you think, Sonics have got something potentially really special on the game.
I like Sonics. I enjoy watching them, and they had a tough first game, but I think there's more to come from them.
There's still another 2.25 days to go. Plenty of time to see them deliver much, but right now the focus, of course, is on Oxygen and what they can do against Rogue. Still at that 2-1 mark. We've got about 60 seconds in the round, and Rips is holding on this cut that's coming down from Solar in case someone does opt to come pushing their way up there to challenge the man on Repel, which is Prano. He's doing the right work there. They've got the EE1D coming out. The man sat in the same spot. I believe it was Vert who was holding there before. Not that it matters too much, as elsewhere there's 2 kills that have come flying the way of Rogue, and it is Vert indeed. Now going to rotate his way back up towards Solar. This is where Rip should be able to find him. Now they know that he's here. The question is, how do they get rid? Last time it was a grenade coming in from below. Vert, wow, going hyper aggressive, got the shotgun in hand as well, daring him to step up to the window. If you're a smart man, you back away ever so slightly, but here he's dipped his way back into sight. But it's just one after the other, like dominoes. Oxygen are falling apart. 5 versus 2 sets in, and it's going to be a flawless round, a double kill for Rips at the very end.
Rogue able to lock it down then. Vertical just suffering to bad timing a couple of times. We saw it there as he peeked around the first time. He had the SMG in hand, possibly an opportunity there, and then each time he turned away with the shotgun, it seemed as if Rips moved across that window at that very second, and he just wasn't able to find him.
They were playing for the trade play onto Rips at the end there, where one was swinging from deeper towards Solar Stairs and he was swinging from close with the shotgun. But I think what happened is the timing was like half a second off. So when Vert comes to the swing with the shotgun, Rips has already taken the gunfight onto the guy at the back, has killed him, spray transfers, gets the easiest kill of his life onto the shotgun wielder that was stood in front of his face. A good round for Rogue. 2-2 we now sit at. So that initial burst ahead for Oxygen going 2-0 has been nullified. Rogue now starting to warm into things.
And it's the fact that Rogue have managed to get 2 rounds back to back. You look at this now and think, right, have Oxygen got the legs here to continue fighting as they are, or do Rogue now just sort of pull away in this first half and get themselves those 4 attacking rounds that really, not that they desperately need, but that they will be much more comfortable to have got, because that will have been their expectation coming in. They know they're strong on the attack. They haven't had a plant yet, which surprises me. And they know that they need to come away with the advantage from there.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how round number 5 plays out then. If Rogue can continue on their journey towards a successful attacking half, or if Oxygen can bounce their way back in. On towards the other side, looking at Oxygen now, Blackston's the one who's been going massive. Vert, as you mentioned, has had a couple of good rounds throughout the way, but it's been relatively quiet otherwise, and attention is always poured on towards Yoga and Kino. The 2 younger, newer players they brought into the roster towards the start of this year, still kind of finding their feet and really trying to get settled in. And admittedly, coming to a big event like this as well, it's going to give you a lot of experience. And it's the thing about a lot of teams here, is many will look at, say, Dark Zero, Oxygen, other teams that have added players recently and go, they haven't played well, that team's not particularly great. But any coach will tell you it takes time for a team to bed in. They need a stage or 2, a couple of competitions. It is not an overnight thing. You have to synergize, get used to how each other play, get used to communicating well, build out the strats you want. There's just so much work that has to go into it that it's not going to be an immediate overnight thing. Sometimes it takes, a year for a team to build out to be that amazing that they can go on and win something big.
Absolutely, and we've said this about Siege, the competition is going up and up and up. We look at how difficult these tournaments are to predict. We come in here, there's 16 teams, and, I dare say, I won't get carried away and say that I'd expect all 16 could come in and win this tournament, because, that's not necessarily the case, but you would have to say that there are strong arguments that you wouldn't be overly surprised if maybe 12 or even 14 of them took the title away.
Timing on that made me think, I was really confused as to why Kino didn't get the kill, but it was Leon finding the kill instead onto Yoga. 1-5 now. Every round, find himself going down. Only 1 kill back to his name. It's not been the prettiest start. Kino down to about a slither of HP, half if you want to be precise. The window peak comes through, but can't quite find the head. Those are the kind of kills you've got to be netting. And there's one or two more charging around throughout Office that he simply can't find. Rips swinging onto Laxing. A 5 versus 3. Kino, not much longer for this world. Oh, no way as he crouch walks into that. No way. Surely he must know it's the other side of this wall. Just spray the wall, buddy. Do something. A grenade might do the trick. Tries to get it through the hole as well. Chucks it through. Doesn't realise how shallow he really is. How on earth he's got away with still being there is anyone's guess. Not that it matters too much as Rogue have turned their advantage into a 3-man. 5 versus 2 overall. And surely at this point, Oxygen cannot hold on in round 5.
I would expect Prano to take the opportunity here to get himself inside of sight and get that diffuser down as quickly as possible. I think they were just uncomfortable in not knowing where the last man was. Kino announces his presence with a kill onto Aces, but Prano meanwhile finds Hope, and that is the last man standing now as Kino tries to push back in a 1 versus 4. And as I suggested, Rogue taking the opportunity to try and get that diffuser down, will successfully plant, and that is now going to make the job even more difficult for Kino. Shut down by Prano. That's going to be Rogue. Smiles are coming back, and they are 3-2.
He looks so happy as a coach behind his boys because they're playing pretty well. 3 rounds on the bounce now. Started to wake up a bit after those first 2 rounds, maybe were a little bit worrisome. Either that or they're just talking a bunch of crap and he's laughing at what's going through his eardrums right now. We've heard them on the comms, we've heard how funny they can be. For those who missed it when they played remotely for EUL, they'll fist bump the camera, because obviously they can't fist bump each other, so they always reach out and air quotes fist bump the camera in front of them. It looks really funny when we get to see it. I asked them about that, what is that? I understand like fist bumping's a thing, but why for you guys? And they said, quite simply, it's a psychological ritual. Like if you imagine that's the emotive of like fist bumping on LAN, reset the round, congratulate the team on having a round that's gone well or badly, or move on, whatever it's got to be. It's the same sort of thing in your head. And we said this about them in Stage 3. Rogue have been smiling a lot more in their games. Aces, normally deadpan in the face. Even he's been laughing and smiling. That tells you how good the mental is for this side.
It does, and the thing is, you look at it and yeah, yes, it's a video game that we're playing. I'm not saying in that sense that it's about having fun, but what I'm saying is if you are having fun with your team whilst competing, you're going to perform better. Simple as that. If you're in your head thinking, this isn't going well, I'm not enjoying this, I'm struggling to find kills, whatever it might be, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That performance is going to follow as well. And like you say, the more that we've seen that sort of relaxation, that enjoyment come back to Rogue, the smiles on the faces, the laughs, the light-hearted interviews, all that sort of stuff, the performances have gone up in line with it.
Absolutely. Weird that, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Truly unbelievable. Let's see how this round sets up. The Rook, an interesting pick coming out from Yoga, it's worth mentioning. Very rarely see that brought along in competitive play. Remember back in the old day, we'd see the Rook and the Doc together, or Duk as Snurrele for caster in the Norwegian Norwegian country used to say.
I like that.
Norwegian region. If it was a region by itself, it would be great, but it's more part of Scandinavia / the Nordics, so go figure. Let's see how things shape out. Kino looking to get cheeky onto the window. Threats coming in onto the balcony, but no one being taken down on the side of Rogue.
It just feels like that early promise that Oxygen showed us is just wearing off a little bit now, and Rogue have settled into things. They are catching people on the rotates, vertical taking a lot of damage there, and you just feel like this Rogue push is going to come through. They want the top floor control. Kino trying to keep hold of it for the time being, but the pressure is mounting. The window repels, the balcony, the pressure comes in from the bathroom. Now he's able to find the kill onto Leon, so that is a good start for Oxygen. Kino able to shut him down. That's the finger gone, and of course the health boosts along with him.
That was a very typical aggressive push coming out of crying. Fortunate to have the cover by Rips, and I don't want to so much jump on Leon for this, but he was very far ahead of the rest of the team there. Sure, he had the live drone at his feet and wanted to play off the information his team was giving him, but look at his engagement versus the one that followed after from Crying and Rips, swinging from different sides at the same time. Crying was dead to rights if Rips was not there on the left-hand side. So just the small adjustments there. A little bit of patience being shown has given a good yield to Rogue. Leon being a little bit aggressive in the first case did come back to bite them, but that may have been a team decision, so you can't jump on his back too much about it.
Bruno just opening the wall up there from the inside, wanting to make it difficult to play at the top of Library Stairs. We can see the attempts with the explosives to try and take the Selma devices off the wall, but the damage is done, and Yoga is going to have to be very careful about playing in this location. They need to clear the shield out, and we hear that happen as he goes. The grenade tinkles in, and the explosion removes the shield, so that now leaves Rogue in control of the top floor pretty much. They've got vertical to clear out now. It looks like he is absolutely adamant on playing his life inside of there. He is locked deep into the library.
The question is, does Cryin know? Surely you'd imagine there is some idea there. If he vaults in here, he could just find himself outright dead. But equally, a free nade into this corner could be all they really need. There's pressure building up around him, and with 25 seconds to go, they need control of this room. Has it been drone? We've already seen them today making a couple of droning errors, and here we go. Finds one, but 3 guns all turn his way simultaneously, and he will not be surviving the minigun of Rogue, blasting him down at the very bitter end. But at 4 versus 3, they've got to find these kills. Make it just 2 remaining. Yoga, Laxin, one holds tight as well. Rips finds yet another. Laxin's alone, sees the diffuser down. They've got to rush him, finds one. Can he find the rest as well? Laxin, he holds out! A 3K with a shotgun to clutch it out for Oxygen. Words will be had for Rogue there, as you'll be thinking. In a 4 versus 2, that should have been their round.
I think time played a big factor
Massively.
there. It was the end of the round, 6 seconds left to go, and Laxin got the absolute perfect first kill to set him up for that clutch. He put the diffuser down on the ground, and it left Rogue with absolutely no choice but to go in and get kills. And look at the prediction from Laxin. He steps up behind the bar, 1 on the rotate. I've got him. 1 from split. He is mine. Takes him down and just predicts where that movement is coming from. If he goes in and checks for split first, he loses that fight because the man from rotate gets him. He just played it perfectly.
Very, very smart coming out from Laxin. That's what you get when you've been playing since the Xbox days. A lot of situational awareness. My God, does it build up beautifully. Now, if you are an EU fan, this is where you may start feeling nervous. Rogue are going onto the defensive side of Chalet. And if you didn't catch our conversation earlier on, you're thinking, well, why would I be nervous? Like, it's just defense. It's not a big deal. It's not so much leaning in towards the fact that Chalet is an attacking-sided map. It's more that Rogue is a very good team on attack at the minute. That seems to be the one area they mostly have figured out. A couple of times today, that's looked questionable at parts. But defense hasn't really been their forte, it's felt like, for most of the stage. So really here, we need to see something special. On the side of Oxygen, mixed bag in terms of what you're going to get, but already you can see the attempt at calming down the aggressive plays coming out of Rogue, looking in towards the Jackal, the Nomad, things like that. Things that will help them control the aggression coming out of this Rogue side and look to have a very close, controlled execute.
It's going to be a bar and gaming hold for this one in round 7 then. First attempt for Rogue at a defense. It's going to be a very telling round for me. If Oxygen are able to come in here and start picking Rogue apart, then yes, it is time for Rogue and EU fans to start worrying. You know, there is still an opportunity here that Rogue actually show us something better on defence than they have been able to so far. They're going to have to, but we can remain optimistic, if you're a Rogue fan at least, for the time being, until we've seen this. And probably the next round, we need to get a real feel for this. Now, Oxygen, they've got themselves the angles, they've got Solarian, they've got a double window, they've almost got Leon Gids as an opener, going to lose half his health there. Manages to get away, he's going to be able to play in behind that shield for the remainder of the round, but that was a close run thing for Rogue.
It always makes me nervous when I see players do that kind of thing, especially when you're holding up towards solo, when you're so far away. You know someone's going to go double window. So have you got a plan for a run out? Have you got a plan for someone to challenge it with you? Just running across it is okay. You can do it, but it just makes me nervous. You lose your life there. You've given your life essentially for nothing. Like, he didn't waste a whole ton of time. I think the clock was at 2:07 when he went for the run across. It just makes me nervous. Now Oxygen are going to get this top of library clear, so they need a couple of nades to come singing out here. And already you can see Rogue starting to back away defensively. Leon, he'll be on Cam's duty for the rest of this round.
Big opener from Rips there, using the Nitro to take Kino down, giving them the advantage now. 5 versus 4 in favour of Rogue. 1 minute 15 left to go, and And this is where Oxygen might start to struggle and where you might just start to see that impact of Foxy missing as well, Des, because this is where they have to adapt. They have to change things on the fly. They have to go to plan B and plan C and be able to do that quickly without burning too much time, and that could be an issue for the NA side. Now, Yoga still trying to push out of Piano here, still trying to get any sort of control over the top floor, but for the time being, Oxygen just struggling to break through this rogue defense.
Then they have now got rid of the shield and they're getting the single wall opened up. No, it's still there. You've got to be joking. They burnt flashes and smokes and everything in a herd. Vert get the sledge out from the window. Sorry, the nade coming out from the library hall window, but it still stands, and Leon can just step up and take a freebie onto Yoga. A 5 versus 2, and Oxygen have been left rattled by this hold at the top of library stairs. They find one, the push comes through, but Leon has already slipped away. Vert's chasing him. Does he know about this one? Yes, he does. A great shot coming in. They get the library stairs control they want, but it didn't stop Leon finding himself one. Hopes goes down, crying on the flank. A very comfortable round from Rogue, and Oxygen really struggling to break that library hall hold.
As I say, I think for Oxygen, you know, I could be wrong, it just feels a little bit like the attack will be more difficult because you've got to be more fluid. You've got to be able to just cycle through those plans, move through quicker, whereas on defence, you can sort of have a plan before you can come in. You know, where is Hope's going to play? Where's he going to fit in? Which piece is he going to be on that chessboard? Whereas now, you've got to be able to just move quickly on the fly without that plan in place beforehand necessarily. And as soon as the first couple of kills went down, it was kind of like, right, what now?
Absolutely. A bit of a pause coming in here for Oxygen to have a chat. I'm not sure if it's a technical issue or what. I'm not sure. We'll find out in just a moment. But we do know that Master and Office is going to be the next side that we step into for Rogue. Not so much going to be an identical defense, but if they did want to defend library side, then hey, top library was really great for them in that individual instance. But I imagine where a lot of the action will set up in this round is going to be up towards Solar. That's where most teams tend to try and go for their hold. It's where they'll start the attack. You want that big window control. You want to get 2 at least on the rappel. And maybe have someone on the downstairs watching Trophy in case there is an attempt to move down those stairs or rotate away. You can pin someone in on the Solar stairs and look to start making your plays happen from there. It's going to be a quick pause, which I think has now got us back underway. And things will begin with round number 8.
Yeah, I think they've got that sorted there. There was a bit,
quick.
Bit of a sound issue for Vertical. I think he just needed a minute to sort that out so that he had some sound. Going to be heading, as you say, into Master and Office this time around. Aces on the Oryx. I always like to watch an Oryx. I find them exciting to watch and just see exactly, especially when they start doing this, opening hatches up. I love to see the rotation that it brings and the difficulty for the attackers in being able to close that down. You know, Laxing has the Nomad, but only limited supply of air jabs. There's only so many staircases, hatches, rotates that you can try and close off.
He's making this area of the map is the main as well. Dining, kitchen, everything being opened up. Checking out there's no drones lurking around as well, which suggests he wants to play around this area. Looks to cause a little bit of trouble once the round is underway. Very much time waster, will likely back up towards site as the round progresses and then look to retake control of this area once Oxygen feels secure and safe.
Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers recover.
Tino just paying close attention to those windows. Oxygen taking advantage of the spawn peaks themselves and not wanting to lose any men to them, understandably, so just approaching cautiously. But how do they get themselves established inside of the map, and how do they get that map control that they'll need? That is the big question for Oxygen to answer. If everything goes to plan, you feel like, yes, it is possible for them to do it. They're getting the kills, they're winning the gunfights, they can go in and continue to do that. But if Rogue get those entries, if Rogue get themselves that advantage, that's where you feel that it starts to become difficult for Oxygen. Now then, Kino aggressing towards the Office balcony. We can see straight away they've got themselves the control over library, mezzanine and the Office balcony area, but they haven't dealt with Cryan and Leon, who are way underneath at the minute.
Nah, no rush yet as well on their side. They know they can afford to be quite passive. Those goo mines just giving away indications of where the push is coming from. Of course, back in the olden days when you could see Legion's goo mine indicator across the entire map, it was very clear to see where someone was coming from. That's now been removed to line of sight or within 10 meters, I believe it is. So it's not as valuable as an intel gadget, but still gives you a lot of information if required. Leon being chased away once again back into basement. I like that Rogue are not scared and they are getting up against these members of Oxygen and looking to slow them down against teams like Dark Zero, who are a little bit slower. Great ploy to employ. Against a team like Oxygen that are a little bit quicker, it might not be as effective, but you're still burning through time.
Cryan is being pinged out by the Jackal track there, but it's not really going to matter, seeing as he's down at the bottom of Solarium stairs. However, Yoga does manage to cut Leon off once and for all, shuts down the Jaeger, not allowing him back to sight from the roam, and that's going to give Oxygen the advantage here. Yoga does take a little bit of damage. 1 minute left on the clock, so still plenty of time for the North American side here to try and get themselves inside of sight and get that diffuser down on the ground. Kino, he's looking to aggress towards Office, and I like what I'm seeing here. You've got a solid line from Oxygen. They are ready to push in through that breach and get the diffuser down. That's exactly what Hopes is going to do, but here goes Prano with the outer. He's looking for the big flank. He gets one, can't get the second. The diffuser is confirmed, and this is not looking good for Rogue.
And a bit long range there as well. Prano being the aggressive player, up tight and close. Kino finds another onto Aces as well. A couple of great headshots in this round coming out for Oxygen. Should basically close it out here. Kino going massive off on towards Flute Balcony before the shutdown comes in. 4-4 going to be our scoreline, and it's very hard to drive a wedge between these two teams right now.
And the thing is, for Oxygen, you know, I'm sure they want to written it off to the point of expecting that they're not going to win a game or not pick up points, but when you're coming in against a team like Rogue, you're not at full strength, you think, you know what, we'll just go in, we'll see what we can do. At the point where they're 4-4, they start now thinking, hang on a minute, we can actually do this. We might just be able to turn this team over, and that sort of belief can be a dangerous thing.
It can. The little timeout coming in here. I imagine it's on Rogue side for a conversation, or he's getting back into game. No, straight into game, sorry, not a timeout being called through. But I'm looking at it and just thinking, okay, on Rogue side, you're doing your best. You're getting out of the map and you're trying to be disruptive, but Oxygen are slowly starting to kind of deal with that better and better. In that prior round a second ago, if Prano found a second kill maybe onto Mez, we're having a very different conversation, and Kino was absolutely massive from the balcony door. Barely contested at all. He's picked himself up 2 or 3 kills throughout the round. Wonderful stuff. Now we'll see how we play out now that we're back inside of Dining and Kitchen. Rogue heading there for their third defensive round.
Yeah, Rogue going to want to hold on to the top floor again here. It's going to be very similar to last time around, to be honest, and that is a little bit of a concern if you're a Rogue fan, because Oxygen were able to deal with this master site particularly well in the last round. They can largely rinse and repeat what they did. They're going to want to get into library, control mezzanine, open the office wall, and just flush and force everybody from Rogue away from that top floor. Once they get them onto site, they open up the main lobby wall through into dining and can think about getting in there, letting Hopes do what he does and get that diffuser down on the ground. So for me, Oxygen, they can play this very, very similarly, and if Rogue don't win a couple of the gunfights, could be trouble for them.
Absolutely. Library take going to be the start coming in for Oxygen. You've already got Yogg and at least the Sledge pushing out and towards this side and looking to move their way forwards. Kino once again playing off on the balcony, looking to cause a bit of trouble as things progress. Drone in ahead of them to make sure they can get control of the map nice and quick. It's good stuff, but are they aware of this player currently pushing on their way up the stairs? Cryan going really aggressive on this swing. I think he's a bit nervous that he's been seen by a drone though, wants to drop himself back away. Now let's go back to being a basement dweller, looking to try and strike as the round progresses, you know, just how much damage those flanks can do.
Certainly do. Oxygen need to be aware of that, need to be careful, just try and keep tabs on him, make sure that they don't let the Jaeger sort of slip through the net. Cryan for the time being is, as you say, deep in the basement and just looking for a potential late rotate. Now then, Oxygen, they've got themselves control pretty much of at least half of the top floor. As I said, they can get that office wall open now and start driving Rogue back towards Solarium and ultimately back down to site. They need to be conscious of time. They're not doing too badly at the moment, but the seconds do continue to tick away. Yoga just going to hold a hard angle for the time being, but a harder angle being held by Aces as he manages to find a wonderful headshot on the reverse there. Takes Yoga down, and that's a big opener for Rogue.
Didn't even give him the chance to go for a second quick peek as well. Just really well played out by Aces, and now they know someone's held just around the corner. Vert finding one onto Leon. Aces for now at least still off towards the side, a little bit safer, but the push might come through. Eating straight into an ADS, and oh no, they've just burnt through both, and the shield's still standing. That is not ideal.
Certainly not. It's going to make it difficult to continue pushing forward. Kino takes out that proximity alarm, but I get a feeling that Rogue know that you are coming anyway. Vertical, he knows where Cryan is, shuts down the roamer. I said, Des, they needed to keep an eye on the Jaeger, and they've kept more than an eye on him. They've kept a couple of bullets on him there as he takes his life. That's going to be 4 versus 3 now for Oxygen, and it's time for Rogue to start clinging on here. We said that they've struggled on the defences, Des, and it doesn't seem to be getting much better for them. Kino just rolling through the top floor, taking utility after utility out, and it's starting to get to be the only factor that's going to stop Oxygen here is likely to be the time.
I mean, Vert's on the triple kill. He's still got 2 nades in back pocket as well. They can clear out whatever they need to from above. Hopes finding his way into the scoreboard for the first time in this game. In comes a hot drop. It's a freebie coming in for Aces. Now, surely there's not a 1v3 in the waiting here. He knows West Main is going to be where one of them is, but he's charged himself far, far away. Wants something to do with the gunfight. What is he dashing back and forth? Sees the man, wins the gunfight as well into a 1 versus 2, but sadly shut down by Hopes off towards the south side. At the very least, it means points being lost. You want to be able to walk away with all 3. You need 3 rounds back-to-back from here on out.
And, you know, we said about coming in here, Des, you picked up on Rogue's mental game and how much they've worked on it and how solid it has been. Now is the time to really find out, you know, can they do it? Can they muscle through here? Because, like you say, there's no real room for mistakes. There's no more errors. If they want 3 points, they need to win everything from here on.
There's a really curious one for you that just came through in the overtime, timeout. Prano's the one now moving across to being on the Oryx. So where you'd normally see him on Smoke, the Mute, playing these more defensive roles, it's almost like they've decided, look, the guy's hitting his shots today. He's probably highly confident and has been asked by Meepy, yeah, if you feel good hitting your shots, let's get you out on the road. He said, yeah, let's go for it. I'm down. Like, Prano isn't really a natural support player. Historically on Team Secret, he used to be the go-to entry player. He used to be the Zofia main. That's what his natural role has been. And although he's fitting in incredibly well to this more supportive IGL-based role for the side of Rogue, that's not to say that sometimes you can't just take the chains off and let the man run absolutely wild. And hopefully that's what we come to see. Now alongside that, there's a very interesting pick coming through on the side of Oxygen that we haven't seen in a while. If you're 2 and 9 and not able to hit your shots and losing your gunfights, get yourself an extra shield in front of the face. Soak one more bullet. Yoga on the Blackbeards.
Bring him along and see what you can do, Yoga. Just unfortunate, not quite there as Prano takes the peak. Prano getting away with that, doesn't know that he's necessarily going to be peeking into a Blackbeard here. The E1D scan will freeze the defenders in place for the time being. Now then, Yoga, this is a real standoff between these two. In goes the drone. I don't think he knows that Prano is there. He certainly was unlucky on his timing, not checking that angle as the man appears, but here we go. They start to push in. Now, what can Prano do, Des? You said he's been hitting his shot, but Hopes is getting straight in there and getting the diffuser down. Prano's having absolutely none of it though. Goes in, manages to get the kill and somehow finds himself on full health. Yoga unable to make a challenge onto him, and that is going to leave the diffuser down in the cold. And Kino, he manages to get one onto Rips.
Just find the one. You've still got Leon playing at the top as well. No one really bothering pushing in from lobby side for Oxygen here, so no potential flank, no back pressure coming into Prano, meaning all of his time and attention can just go into watching the diffuser. He knows that it's down inside of gaming. Yog bolting his way in. You're going to find that barbed wire, giving over a bit of a noise hint to the defenders as to what might be coming here. They have a loose idea as to where the man might be, but can't quite find him. Kino, a second in the round. They've got that topside control that they were looking for. And Prano now ever so slightly restricted, but he's waiting for someone to cross that threshold, to step towards that diffuser, and then they'll be in hot water unless he gets killed from the side here. Now they've got this opened up.
Bit of a risk from Rogue here that Prano's really the only man on site here. Crying is trying to make his way back to support. Prano gets a great kill up through the ceiling as it's opened up above him, and he is just watching this diffuser intently. He knows that the opportunity is going to come. He knows they have to push forward. Here comes the challenge, and that's big from Yoga. Manages to use that Blackbeard rifle to get the kill onto Prano, and leave us now 3 versus 2. He's got the opportunity to go and get this diffuser. Needs to do that and think about putting it down, but Crying, he's moved himself up above. He's going to try to use that vertical angle, but no, he's moving back down the stairs. Aces gets Laxing, 2 versus 2. Diffuser is secured though, and that leaves us now 2 versus 2 in a post plant.
Ace is very, very low. Going to smoke out the retreat path here as well. So Yoga is trapped. The thing is, where can he sit and play? Ace is coming on a bit of a flank here. They know which angle he's going to come from. Steps out again. Another smoke goes out. Yoga surely is toast. Gassed out there inside of the plant spot, leaving Vert in the 1 versus 2. But they know they've got to try and push him on the outside here. Can they find him? Is the next big question. He holds this tiny pixel angle through the bush. They could try and go for the defuse if they want. Have one man stand watch whilst the defuse comes in. That looks like it might be the call. Ace is surely the one that you're looking towards here to make something happen. The jump out comes through. The second one's there as well. Vert wins it in the post plant. A 1 versus 2. Oxygen move up to 6 and 4. And Rogue at this point are the ones looking like they're a bit out of oxygen. Starting to fall a little bit short, a little bit breathless, and unable to find themselves around.
I'm happy to see Oxygen making such a game out of this, because it sends a message, Des, that we've got a couple of teams here that might not be playing at full strength, but they are not just free wins. They are here to compete, and that is what they are going to continue doing. Oxygen 6-4 now. now. 2 opportunities to close this out and get 3 points on the board and leave themselves in contention. You can see at the top right of your screen, live rankings would put them into 2nd place.
The thing about that round that was so weird is Prano being sat inside a bar did all the hard work. He got 2 kills, he downed the diffuser, he had a really good start. But it felt like he was constantly being pressured with very minimal support coming in from the rest of Rogue. And sure, they lost 2 members to Kino on the top floor. That's great, he's done a good bit of work there. That wasn't really impacting whether or not Prano was going to get tackled onto. What my question would be is, where were the other 2 members? What were they helping with? Because it did feel like Prano...
Very light on site.
It was very light, not so much on site, but also the angles they were holding. I think there was one up towards Mud, which wasn't really a point of contention coming in for Oxygen. He had no support from anyone above because they lost the members there. He had no support from the window itself. No one actually playing in towards, say, Split. It was just a little bit dicey.
That Split was the big location for me where I'm thinking
surely someone
chosen to just completely forego that, you know, and just have Prano playing in the middle of bar. It just seemed, like I say, a little bit light, and like you say, throughout a lot of that round, I'm thinking, right, Rogue, where are you? Come on, you need to get back and support him here. You know, you can't just leave this all up to Prano.
Interesting as well that Racist has still got 2 of his jammers in back pocket here rather than being deployed around site. He is currently out on the roam, up towards Kitchen, towards that north side of the map, despite most of the setup being done down towards the south, where clearly Rogue feel they can make this defense a success, but then they're now trying to play onto it once again. They spotted out where the mute is. Again, those 2 for being in back pocket, I'm thinking they could have been put anywhere to help you try and block away the information coming against you. Knows now that it's been seen by a drone, has got to be so wary about pushes coming in. West Main, lobby, all these areas that can possibly give him a little bit of bother. And it's Kino once again looking to clear out the top floor.
7 drones still available on the side of Oxygen, so plenty of information going to be getting fed into them. They need to use it wisely. They need to get in there and just take every advantage they can in the gunfights. 5 versus 5 match point. This is their opportunity to close things out. They are attacking onto Bar and Gaming once again, so they want to try and get some library control to allow them the opportunity to get in and get that diffuser down. Hopes did make an attempt last time, but was unable to secure it. Now Crying, he's going to take a lot of damage there. He's just rotating himself around. He's trying to get onto the blue stairs where he can maybe just survive a little bit longer and put those Toxic Babe canisters to use later in the round. But Leon, he's going to open things up with a big start onto Hopes there. That puts the diffuser down on the ground as well.
One on the top floor is massive. Yeah, I mean, it's Hopes being taken out again. You're not getting super excited about it yet. It's not one of those 4 big gunners we keep on speaking about. But look at the blinking health bars on the side of Rogue. Leon down low, Crying down low. 1 bullet will likely be enough to completely finish them off here as well. Vert up on the top floor. They've got what they need in terms of the verticality. We spoke about this last time, but it's the ever-present threat of if someone does push their way up library stairs like Leon did, then what happens?
Rips just holding an angle from that double door. He wants to challenge on into library, but with the diffuser collected, I'm not sure that Vertical's going to really give him much of an opportunity. He's just clearing out utility inside of sight, looking to pressure split as well. Kino's on the double window, and there is an opportunity here, I feel, for Oxygen to think about getting themselves into this plant spot. They've set up as much as they can. Leon's going to dip back onto the library stairs, and it's 35 seconds left to go, so it's time to start thinking about it. Now then, Aces with a big kill onto Laxing, giving them a nice advantage. 5 versus 3 here. They've got to deal with Prano, but no, he's going to deal with them. He gets the first, can't get the second as Yoga trades it out, but it's all up to Yoga as Vertical is taken down by Rips, who made the push across from Piano. That puts the diffuser down. 13 seconds left. This one's done, Des.
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, might find himself another kill, but it's all for vanity and glory here, it feels at this point, rather than giving them a round win. Rogue will hold on for at least 1 more round. Bar and Gaming will be closed out in round 11. Now we'll
just feel like if Oxygen don't win it now, they're probably not going to. I don't know why I've got that feeling, but for me, I think Rogue will breathe a sigh of relief, and it might just take a bit of pressure off them.
Probably because of the momentum swing on way.
Yeah, I just think for Rogue, they've been on that match point for a couple of rounds, and then they get themselves to overtime. It's like, right, okay, we can still get this win. Let's just go and do it. And I think they're probably closing it.
Well, it's going to be that master and dining site coming as the setup, which means upstairs is going to be Terraform Haven. Multiple members hanging on the upstairs, opening up rotates, charging through walls, reinforcing things, dropping down shields, ADSs, you name it. They really want to make sure that they've got this vertical control, hatch included being reinforced off here, so not for the Oryx to make good use of, which suggests to me that either Aces you're going to find holding off down towards the south, or is just here to play his life. It's more for the utility of opening up rotates, of those proximity alarms, so on and so forth. But to me, makes more sense that you might see him dancing around towards the south side of the map, whilst other members of the team might actually play inside of Master and Office initially.
Vertical straight away, applying the pressure towards Library, getting that window open and looking to get on in there and get established. Now then, Leon, he's going to have absolutely none of it from Kino. Beautiful headshot, shuts the man down, and that's exactly what Rogue needed, Des. They just needed that fire lit underneath them here in round 12, and Leon, he provides when required. Yoga coming through, gets established inside a Library, but the damage is done here, really, for Oxygen. They've lost the man, and they're having to push across top floor, one light, and if Rogue can get another kill here, you start thinking that this round is heading straight towards overtime.
Leon and Yog have been at each other's throats on the entry all game long, and overwhelmingly it has been Leon coming out ahead. Not that Yoga hasn't had his impact in some rounds where he hasn't gone down early, but at least in the entries, I'd wager it's Leon who does come out on top. Rotate away here now, they've got control of Library and inside of Lobby itself. You want both of these walls open ideally, both the master wall to give you the contention into the long range angles, but also the downstairs one, so you have a way of being able to push forward. For now, it is just going to be this office wall. They want to get themselves inside, figure out what's going on, where a Rogue set up, look to clear that out, force them downstairs, and then think about your execute. But time is going to be everything.
Time is of the essence, you're absolutely right, and Oxygen not really established inside of the map, but Yoga manages to establish himself inside of Leon's head there with a nice headshot, just leveling things up 4 versus 4. But Oxygen, they need to use that as their opportunity, the catalyst as they need to come in and start that fire burning, start to pick up more kills. They're still working on this top floor clearance. Let's not forget they're attacking onto Kitchen
nice
here.
swing.
Vertical gets crying, but Aces, he finds the trade. 3 versus 3, Prano in on the action with one onto Yoga. It's starting to go in Rogue's favour. Hopes, he takes an awful lot of damage there. 50 seconds left to go. It's now or never, Oxygen. You're heading to overtime if you don't get this done.
I don't see how they do here as well. Hopes is down to almost no HP. Laxin has got to come up absolutely huge. They will finally start getting the wall open, and in the 35 seconds, they've got to pull off a 2 versus 3. It's a lot to ask for, but Laxin crouch walking his way forwards. Might get seen out by the Evil Eye here as well, which deters him, pushes him back out towards bathroom side. Prano, he's holding up towards looking at Solar as well, so if he wanted to, he can deny this out with those 3 toxic bait canisters that are sat in his back pocket. And against those 3 smokes, you tend to feel very nervous because you've got no time to make anything happen. Flashing behind him, surely out comes the toxic bait canister, and they'll be able to hold him off. Let him push forward ever so slightly. Can't take the longer swing on this one. It's Aces to get the shutdown. Hope's left alive. Aces closes it out. Rogue get us through to overtime.
We're going all the way, Des. One way or another, we're going to have a minimum of 2 additional rounds here. It is, of course, best of 3 rounds in overtime, so the first team to win 2 will win the game. The points that they will collect for the league table change slightly now, where it was 3 points for a win and 0 for a loss. In overtime, it is now 2 points for a win and 1 for a loss, so both Oxygen and Rogue guaranteeing themselves at least 1 point onto that league table here. They're going to be going in with Oxygen on the attack first of all. And you gotta say, it feels a little bit like it was 3-all in either half, so there's not any direct advantage, but I feel like Oxygen had some good passages of play on attack there.
The thing is, the way I'm looking at this now is when I think back to Rogue in their first couple of rounds, they weren't really in the game at that point. Oxygen was switched on from the off, Rogue were not. It took them 2 rounds to start gaining rounds. I think if Rogue were on the attacking side, they would have more success. So it's probably a blessing for Oxygen that they're the ones starting off on the attack here. Even if the last 2 to 3 rounds, they haven't found anything. Let's not forget, they were at 6-4 and have let it come all the way back to 6-6. You mentioned earlier on, you didn't quite know what the feeling was as to why Rogue would take it. It is that momentum swing, in my opinion. Those first 2 to 3 rounds, Oxygen were awake, Rogue were not. Now both teams are here. It does feel like Rogue are slowly starting to bleed out an advantage.
It does. Like you say, it's difficult sometimes to put your finger on, but just the whole feel of the game just feels like maybe Rogue have got that little bit of extra gas in the tank, and winning that last round as well, like you say, it just gives them a bit of momentum. They've got 2 rounds in a row. They can just keep rolling with that now.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see how much work they can do in this round, though. It's, again, for me, the big strength we've seen in Rogue is being off-site a little bit and wasting quite a lot of Oxygen's time, forcing them to get a little bit pacier when it comes to the mid-round. Here, at the very least, no one's really playing off-site, so I'm wondering if we're going to see that step-up be a thing, or if for Oxygen it's going to be simple as take as much map control as you want, we'll deal with you once you get to site.
In go the drones. We're still early in here, 30 seconds into the round. Confident that there's nobody inside a library. Vertical's going to move in quickly. And Rogue not putting up too much of a defence here in terms of stopping them getting into the library and mezzanine. Oxygen are going to have a lot of time available to them. The hatches have been opened up, but there's no Oryx on the side of Rogue, so there's no opportunity for anybody to come and try and move on the flank or anything like that because of those hatches. So no major problem for Oxygen there. They need to watch potentially, I suppose, for a Nitro coming up through there if there's anybody underneath, as we can see. There are two down there, but I just don't think that's going to be any impact. So Oxygen, they've got themselves established. They're pretty comfortable now. We've got Kino underneath looking to try and remove this denial from the wall. Something that we spoke about, Des, was bringing that denial.
Managed to get the C4 shot out as it came in towards him as well, but then gets shot from above. The man's in a bit of a murder spot there, being shot at from two angles, and they can't get this wall opened up. That was his sole role, and I think it's a really nice adaptation from Rogue to say, hey, they want to get below and open the wall up. Let's leave one wall soft playing in towards dining, reinforce one so you've got a safer angle to play into, and just look to contest the man when he gets below. That's been fantastic work and might just be the one thing that costs Oxygen this attack.
And this is what we spoke about with the Thatcher and the Maverick bans. You know, we said think about bringing that Kaid along because he's not banned out, and once he's applied, yes, there are alternative ways, but the thing is, you know then, they're going to have to play underneath to clear the electrical up. So now we can prepare for that. We can bait them into it, and that's exactly what they've done. Beautiful from Rogue. 5 versus 3, 5 versus 2 as Rips managed to find Vertical. And Rogue, they're starting to run away with this round, Des, and they could run away with the game if they continue. 4 versus 1 as Crying finds hopes. It was a trade as well. It leaves Laxing now 1 versus 4, all to do. Shoots out the cam, but they're going to know where he's coming from. The challenge comes in. Shut down on the bathroom door. There was a team kill in there somewhere, but I'm sure Rogue won't mind about that. It gives them the opportunity for match point, and it is their first match point opportunity in this game.
I would love to know if that was intentional afterwards. It's the kind of... the word I was going to use wasn't really appropriate. It was the kind of... What am I thinking of here? The kind of tomfoolery. That's a much safer word than what I was going to say. The kind of tomfoolery Aces would pull off, and we've heard about it several times. Either way, another round closed out by Rogue. Prano dug in really well. I will give a small nod towards Oxygen as well. The bait with the Selma coming onto the single wall, and as soon as they hear him try and go for the shots onto it, they swing him immediately. Really good play. He did find the down. Kind of turned a little bit messy as things went forward from there, but some cute ideas to kind of break open the stranglehold. And the stranglehold is the best way I can describe what Rogue have done on several defensive rounds across the last 7 now, is Oxygen have got to a point where they want to push their way through and they're being met by stiff resistance. Whether it's shields, and it's mainly, to be fair, around that library hallway. Whether it's the shield at the top of library stairs, whether it was Piano just then, whether it was being swung on from a little bit deeper inside Piano, they have really had problems getting control from the opposite direction to where Rogue are defending inside the library hallway. Maybe that's something for them to go away and work on if they're going to come back to Chalet in future.
Vertical setting up on mezzanine there with the Vulcan shield. We've got the mute jammer, we've got the reinforcements, we've got everything put in place to try and hold on to library and mezzanine here. Going to be very important part of Oxygen's defense. Kino up there on the master side as well, potentially just going to look to waste a little bit of time, see if he can pick a kill up if the push comes in from the Solarium side from Rogue.
As soon as I saw that shield go down, I thought, oh, it's the sort of thing we've seen come out of them before when defending this site against Dark Zero. Dark Zero brought along a Capital to help deal with this. Of course, the Wamai is available here, so likely not going to be a go-to assumption that you bring it as the attackers, even though there is no Wamai in this particular round. It was Yoga who played behind it previously, but he wants to get out on the roam. Him and Kino, they don't want to be anywhere near site. They want to get busy. They want to go and cause trouble around the map. They need to fill in for the gaps that Fox are not being present, unfortunately, introduces into this team. And sure enough, one in basement, one on the top floor, just trying to waste a bit of time here and keep Rogue guessing as to where they might be.
Leon just opening up that bathroom window. I don't know if he knows how close he is to the man just challenging the tight angle there, but he knows that there is one looking from the library stairs. He hits him with the fadeaway, Des. Just drops off the ledge. A beautiful headshot onto Vertical, and Leon opens things up for Rogue in splendid fashion.
Little bit of miscom there from Oxygen as well. You know, they wanted the idea to have the double peek come through, and one was consistently peeking out. It was Vertical, but there was no swing from Kino. He gets the trade on Crying. Crying, by the way, a quiet game here. He top fragged out for Rogue in their game earlier on today, so it's good to see across the day that every member of Rogue has got themselves involved. The other 4 all on 10 10 kills or more. A real good team effort coming out in this game. But again, small mistiming, small mistakes coming out of Oxygen that's costing them critical little duels or mini-game exchanges as the rounds progress.
Prano just going to open up the window for the long angle there, out towards the double door and towards the library. He's done his work inside of office and opened up towards the top of library stairs. That will allow the shield to be taken down. And as we can see, Laxing this time is the man inside of library, where it was vertical last time. But he's going to have his work cut out here as Prano manages to find a kill onto Hope. 1 minute, 5 seconds left to go. And this nade is going to absolutely delete Laxing if he doesn't move. He does. And he manages to get the drop as well as he finds a headshot onto Aces, dropping down the hatch. 2 in 1 round.
We've seen Laxin in this spot before as well. This exact room in a 1v3. It was the shotgun last time, but he can't do it. Prano, unfortunately for him, just a little bit bigger. Rogue get the closeout. It looked for a while like Oxygen might pull ahead, but it's Rogue with the 8-6.
Great performance from Oxygen there. Kept themselves fighting. Throughout the game, they were competitive. Rogue, ultimately, as I said, I just felt when it went to overtime,